All right, where's my browser? Ah, okay, my browser is actually supposed to be here. Let's open it up. Yeah. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. La la la. I see, okay. All right, good. So let's kind of continue where we stopped last night. Build an API, and now we're gonna hack on the UI today. So lazy load that, and yeah, let's wrap this fella inside. We'll see what type of a layout this is gonna be. For now, let's wrap it inside of this default layout we have, and then we'll see from there. Alright, cool, great. Now we're gonna spend some time in Draw.io to figure out what is it that we want to do. Okay, so okay, let's go over here. All right, so first let's kind of break it down. So we need a courses view. We need a course card component, right? So we're going to keep it minimal now. So we're not going to implement search functionality yet, because, well, obviously we're not going to have any courses when we release this feature. We pretty much just need the course card. So for now, we're going to start with this, like this. Pistachio. Let me get some water, 1 second. A roasted pistachio. All right, so let's maybe design this card. So first thing we need is the card, right? Really? Wow. Okay. Well, they are expensive indeed. I have to agree with that, right? So how is the course card look like? Let's go get some inspiration. So if we go to Udemy, let's get Leo. The day was fine. Very long. Had a lot of meetings. Had one-on-one with my CTO. Had a really nice discussion. I really enjoyed it a lot. So overall, it was good, I think. It was good. Yeah. Let me actually try doing one thing, because I keep looking at the screens above, and I need to figure out the better flow for this, right? So let me try to kind of give me 1 second. So how could I give me 2 seconds? So if I do this, shit, that's not what I wanted. 1 sec. Yeah, so it's gonna be easier for me to read the bloody chat. It's just so hard. Okay, so So I actually like how it looks like here, right? I like how it looks here on Udemy, right? So let's take this thing, right? So let's take one of that and let's use this as inspiration, right? So we're gonna go do this as inspiration. So we can build a first component for our courses feature like this, right? So it has some sort of an image or a video, and then a title, an author, rating, and then, well, there's no price really. The big shot, yeah, everybody's trying to kind of materialize now on AI, right? Everybody's trying to materialize on the AI, right? So basically, we're gonna have a set of cards like this, right? So let's start there. We have built, for those of you who weren't here past 2 streams, I have built the API. Now we're gonna continue with the UI. So just with all, like, my entire structure, right? You can see that my structure is kind of very encapsulated, very localized. So I don't do flat structures in any of my projects. So here in courses, we're gonna create a components directory, and obviously those are gonna be components that belong to this view, this feature. You're gonna see in many circumstances, right, that people end up having components folder, which then hosts bunch of different components, and that's really useless because you don't want to have a structure that looks like this, like button, you know, input, course card and stuff like that. So imagine you have a structure of non-correlated, non-related components in a flat structure. That's useless, right? So as you can see, for us, right, for me here, like everything is localized to the feature itself. So if I have a view, if I have a specific feature, then all that goes to that feature is part of that, right? So I don't need to go to some flat components, right, and try to find something. It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so let's create here course card. Ah, shit, I created a directory. That's not good. So we do this, right? And then we create a card now. And we're gonna actually we're gonna do the storybook flow now. So we're gonna do this properly, right? So we're gonna do everything that I promised you guys, right? Export const course card, right? Let's just return something arbitrary course card, right? And let's create a storybook thing for this thing, right? So let's say course-car.stories.jsx. Or was it story? Alex, good evening, my friend. And let me find some dummy. I think I had blank story, right? So I'm gonna copy this just so I can pre-fill the story. And actually, icons. Let me change the icons because I had this icon font doesn't have a storybook. Yeah, so let's do this kind of for now. And yeah, so let's so we're gonna namespace this to courses and then to course card, right? We're gonna get rid of that, and then we're gonna obviously render here the course card, right? So we're gonna say course card, right? And then we shall run our storybook here, right? So CDF storybook. Yeah, great. Okay, great. So we have a storybook now. We can kind of BCD4, good evening, my friend. I am. I was super tired. I was thinking, should I stream today? But I really am having fun a lot lately, especially very excited building this new system, new feature, right? So yeah, I'm good, man. I hope you're good as well. Thank you for writing something. I really appreciate it, man. Okay, so now inside of the storybook, let's design this component, right? We're gonna need the same component to fit our API, right? So yeah. So we know that we're gonna have some picture here, right? Text, author, rating, la la la. So let's start slow, right? So obviously let's have some props, right? So we're gonna have cover, course cover, whatever. Let's say, so let's just say that this is gonna be called course cover, course name, title. Course, I guess course has a title, not a name, I guess, or course name, course title, I don't know. Author rating, I guess, we'll see. And that's it, right? Yeah, I mean, description, I don't think the description should be here, Alex, right? Because it might be actually too big. So I think we're gonna follow what Udemy is doing. Benediction, good evening, buddy. Good evening. Thank you for being here. So let's kind of start with those props, and then yeah, let's start fiddling with that. So first we have a cover, right? So we're gonna do the cover thing in a second. So let's yeah. So we're gonna so we're gonna do that. That's good. Then we're gonna have a title itself, right? So let's just lay it out, right? So it's gonna be H1, I guess, and it's gonna be title, right? Then here we're gonna have author, that first name, author, that last name, right? And then we know that eventually that's gonna be a link that's gonna lead somewhere, right? So this we probably want to say is a nav link, right? And then I guess what this has a to, right? Exactly. And this is gonna be slash author slash username, right? Chica, good evening, my friend. And of course it's complaining about this because obviously we're not passing anything. Let's have some default props here. So we're gonna say this dot default props, right? Printing patterns. I'm new to programming, so if you're new to programming, you should not be thinking about patterns, algorithms, and data structures or anything like that. You should be thinking about learning basic logic, right? In, let's say, some language, right? And then trying to build something. So we are talking about if we're talking about things like, you know, building web pages and stuff, right? Then you should try to build something clickable, right? So if you're new to programming, right, the best thing if you want to learn web programming, right, the best thing you can do for yourself is say, okay, let me build a simple. Okay, first you want to obviously, right? Tronic, good evening, my friend. So if you're new to web program, or if you're new to programming in general, right, the first thing that you want to think about is getting yourself to build something as soon as possible, because then things are going to start to make sense and become more meaningful for you faster, right? So again, the thing is, this is the problem with traditional universities, for example. So this is the problem, right? So you have, you know, so you have top-down approach of learning. You have top-down approach of learning. And then you have bottom-up approach, right? So this is when you start learning everything from the bottom, right? So, and this is kind of where all of the stuff is. Here you start with variables and statements, loops, functions, you know, data types, right? Data structures, algorithms, right? Etc. etc. So this is kind of traditional way of learning to program. Then top-down approach, basically, here you're like, you know, build stuff, right? Build stuff as soon as possible, right? So when it comes to really learning anything, right, not just programming, but anything in general, you have to find yourself somewhere in between, right? So you want to make sure that you do a bit of those concepts here, but you want to make sure, right, that you kind of land somewhere where you are doing a bit of this, but you're also doing a lot more of this, right? So the hardest thing and why a lot of people fail learning mathematics or physics or programming in general is that there's too much of this bottom up. And then you keep asking the fundamental question, what the hell is all this for? And why am I looping through a list of numbers 3 months later, right? You start wondering, like, what the hell am I doing this for, right? So if you want to learn programming, right, you need to, as quickly as possible, try to get yourself to compose something. This is literally programming in a nutshell. Think about if this was a whole English language. This is whole English language. So English language, for example, has a bunch of words and phrases and acronyms and stuff. Programming is all about this, and then everything in programming is constructed out of this. So the most fancy framework you're using, library, whatever, this is kind of all that there is to it. Using those simple things, we compose other things, right? So in simple words, you have to find a balance for yourself. Nobody can know this better than you. One thing that I can tell you, I spent 5.5 years working as a mentor. I had more than almost 170 students in this period, is that I can tell you that it's very dangerous to stay here for too long, right? Because truly, in order to become an expert in any craft, you have to build things. So if you want to become a good musician, good guitarist, right, you cannot just sit and learn theory. You have to actually sit and play that guitar. If you want to be a good painter, it's not sufficient that you learn history of painting, right? You have to take that brush and paint. So there's no really difference in programming or any other craft, right? In order to become good at anything that requires building, it's no secret that you have to build, right? So everybody who is watching this, right, you have to find the balance between, you know, some people prefer this approach. Some people prefer is like, hey, throw me into the problem, and then I'm gonna get myself to here. I'm gonna, you know, you tell me, hey, you know, build a to-do app, and then I will crawl down to all of those concepts, and I'm gonna figure them out. So this is also, so you have to find this balance, right? It's like trying to start here and then work down towards all of these concepts, right? Because this path is sometimes very confusing. It's like, what is a variable? What is a statement? Why am I looping to numbers? Why am I printing a hello world from a function, right? What is all of this gibberish for, right? Do I have, okay, so hopefully this was useful. Now somebody asked about roadmap of the project. There is some sort of a roadmap. Yes, the roadmap, basically you can find it kind of here, right? It's not really ordered or anything, but technically I'm building now this feature, courses. Next feature, we're gonna build this project. So for example, you come to Programmer Network and you can find you can put your project there. You can find other developers who want to team up, blah, blah, blah. So we're doing this now. Maybe next week or week after next one, we're gonna do this. And now it's unclear what's next from here. But whatever is going to be next is going to be for developers. So before we start involving companies and organizations, I want to make sure that we build as many features as possible for us, features that we can utilize as software engineers, right? So right now, today we're going to be doing the UI for this. Past 2 streams, I've done the API and the data modeling and stuff. Today we're going to be focusing on the UI, right? Let me just read a few more questions. Give me a second. You can go to Code Wars 100% wrong. I would highly suggest you not to do that. Code Wars has nothing to do with becoming good programmer. Code Wars is like solving puzzles, so definitely not. If you're a complete beginner, you absolutely don't want to be doing that. As a complete beginner, you want to be building buttons. If we are talking about web, clicking on those buttons and making them do something, hovering your mouse over something and that thing changing the color. So Code Wars, lead code and stuff like that, you definitely don't want to be doing that. You want to be practical and you want to be pragmatic. You don't want to be theoretical, right? Super base, I don't actually know what this is. Let me remind myself, the source. So VCD, like, I must admit, not to be lying to you, right? I've never heard of this. Of course, I worked with Firebase before. I am not generally a fan of those abstractions, of those products that kind of sell you the premise of it just works. You just click here and it works. But again, this could be also due to my history. You know, I started coding very long ago when you had to actually do things yourself. I know that Firebase, for example, is really popular among some developers. Some developers actually love Firebase because it removes a lot of the work for them so they can focus. For example, Firebase is very popular when it comes to mobile development, right? So the mobile developers can focus more on building the mobile app than building the databases and stuff. The only thing with it is like it comes with a price, it comes with you know, it becomes expensive when you have traffic whatsoever. Is that relevant? Well, probably not, because the thing is, one thing that most people don't understand is infrastructure, is that if you ever get to a point of having a successful money-making business, price of infrastructure for the most part becomes insignificant. So in simple words, if I would get programmer network project to the point of making money, then paying for infrastructure would be one of the side effects that I wouldn't probably even feel. So in simple words, I'm basically trying to counter argument myself by saying services like this eventually end up costing more than if you did it yourself. But then when you kind of evaluate that stuff, time that you spent doing it yourself is probably way more costly than paying for a service as such, right? So if those services are sufficient to you to cover your needs, and you know the abstractions that they provide are not limiting you, you know, and you're happy to bind your product to such a tool that kind of one of the biggest issues that developers don't foresee when they're building products is that every single tool that you choose for your project, it starts slightly dictating the business that you're running as well. So for example, you have to be very careful when you choose core technologies of your software, right? Because they will, for example, let's imagine this. Let's imagine that you and I, let's imagine that VCD, that you and I, we moved to some city in Mexico, right? And we want to start a company, right? What would be the first question we would have to ask in that city in Mexico? Well, first question would be, okay, what is the development community here? Which are the most programming languages in this city? Because we would need to ask that, because then we would need to hire people there. So we would first need to find out what is it that people use here so we can start the business and hire the right people. Maybe in that city in Mexico, Java is the most popular, right? So we would probably go with that. So we would make the decision not just based on performance of something, but we would make the decision based on how easy is it to hire people, how easy is it to find them, etc., etc. So it's the same with same applies with any other tool. Like when you're making a decision to add a tool like this as a fundamental core part of your system, you need to think from the business perspective, not from the technical perspective. I mean, technicalities are irrelevant, right? You know, the thing is, tools come and go and stuff like that. But if you decide to use Supabase for your product, you have to understand what is the business implication that this tool is going to have on your business, right? Like how high is the abstraction, right? So it's more about, I wouldn't worry ever about performance of those things or whatever. I would rather worry about, okay, well, what impact does this have on my business? What if we actually succeed, right? Is this limiting to a certain extent, etc., right? So of course you can use everything for production, right? But it really depends on what is it that you're building, right? So my pleasure. Just remember, like, if you want to be a good engineer in general, your first concern when choosing technology should be the business, not the actual outcome of the technology in a technical sense. Because again, technology becomes obsolete every 2 to 5 years. So Supabase probably in 5 years from now is going to be like, oh my god, who uses Supabase, right? Right, but your business wouldn't be saying that. Your business would be, oh man, we made this super important technical decision, we picked this, now our whole business is kind of, bound to this. Now all of the other technical decisions we're making, we need to make it relative to the things that this technology offers to us, right? So it's very, very dangerous. That's why when you're choosing the core parts of the system, you have to be very careful. Which CSS tool you're going to use, who cares? Like CSS library, you can replace that in a week. Which, validation library you use, probably also irrelevant, right? You can replace that in 2 weeks. But when you bind your whole system to a specific database or an abstracted system like this, then you can't just say, oh guys, let's rewrite our whole data model and database in a week, right? So you can't do that, right? So that's why not every technical decision has the same impact in your overall system, right? So I would personally, if this is a new thing, I'm always reluctant to ever hop on and be an early adopter of the technology, right? So would I use this if it's just came out? Probably not. Because I would wait for the internet to break this thing so the contributors can fix it, and then maybe in 2 years from now I would be like, okay, this now looks mature enough. A lot of issues have happened and they were posted on the internet, so if I have an issue, I know that I can find it. Because the most dangerous part of being an early adopter of a technology, or to say being the customer who embrace the technology very early on, is that you now have to be that. Yeah, exactly. So you would have to be the guy who fixes this product now, because it hasn't been used long enough. So now you have to be the one fixing it, right? And you don't want to be fixing a freaking database system. You want to be building your product, right? So you have to account for all of those things when you're choosing technology, right? Because nobody cares about technicalities, like that comes and goes. But your decision on the business, your business can suffer a lot, right? Let me just read this question and then let's continue coding. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Really good question. Really good question. Tronic, I actually didn't fall into this trap. I didn't fall into this trap because I don't paste that much code, right? I don't paste that much code, so I didn't deal with that issue, to be very frank with you. I didn't. Alright, let's write a bit of code. What? What the heck? Use location. Which location? I'm not using any location here. Oh, this fella here. I see. Wait, this music is on a hard-coded loop. Let me just find something. Give me 1 second. And Arcadia, my friend, good evening. Alright, that seems better. All right, so let's continue building stuff, right? So I want us to be effective today with this. We had 2 super good streams, past 2 streams. We finished the API for the most extent. So let's go to our story here and let's pass those props, right? So come on, I was hoping that my co-pilot is gonna help me. How dare you, co-pilot? So let's just hard-code the props so we can then work with the component itself, and then we're gonna later on do the rest of the stuff. Cool. And then it's telling me, hey Alex, you can't really use the location because you're not in the context of any router. That's slightly strange because I think if you haven't worked with GCP before, I think you should pick the first one, the associate one. Get familiar. You want to familiarize yourself with the cloud in general first and foremost. Then with some core GCP services like Cloud Run, their managed databases, BigQuery, Dataform, etc., etc. And then you know, if you see that that's something, you know, I think cloud is the future. I think if you're wondering about which part of industry you should go to, I think becoming a DevOps cloud engineer is actually a very, very kind of good path to take. And even if you don't want to do that, it's good to know a bit of cloud, right? It's definitely good, right? My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. Okay, that's a bit strange. Let's remove that for now. It doesn't like that for some reason. All right, so let's design this card. Let's find some. It's okay. So let's kind of. So why is it not loading the image? Let's see. Then we're gonna have to figure this rating out. Let's just render rating here, and then we'll kind of, yeah. Vaccinated. Good evening, buddy. Oh, does it? That's okay, so that's the reason. Thank you very much. All right, so okay, so cool. So let's kind of style this, and then let's start kind of connecting things and stuff. So this is just some random image, right? So we probably wanna wrap this inside of a div of some sort, right? Then we wanna say class name, height, I don't know, like, let's just do something, right? We don't actually care. Height 14. And then here, was it? I don't actually remember how to do this. Let's try to figure it out together. No, okay. So let's go to Tailwind UI, because I'm paying for this anyway, and I've never used it even once in this project. So let's see if we can kind of find something here that we can quickly use. So we don't card, let's card headings. What is this? Headings. What is this? Let's see, is there something that we can use here? Navigation, overlays, elements, layout, page examples, e-commerce. Features sections, testimonials, blog, contents. What? Is there anything, man? Grid list. Okay, I see some cards, right? Let's say Tailwind CSS card with image. Okay, great. Tailwind cards. Here it is, something. Let's see. Okay. Okay, that's okay. I kind of like that. Sure. Yeah, that's not bad. Sure. Okay. See more. Nah, that's very kind of. Yeah, that's okay. So probably that stuff that we just saw up, right? We can probably use that, right? Let's try to just copy paste that stuff, right? Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, this is a standard type of card, right? So let's try to grab this fella over here, right? And let's go to our card here. Probably didn't copy something properly, right? I see. So let's say HTML to JSX. I know that there's a tool online that does that for us, right? And let's just grab this stuff. Let's undo that and let's do this, right? Cool. And let's go to our storybook. Okay, great. So that kind of worked, right? We don't, again, this is not gonna end up being like completely perfect or anything like that, right? And so source here is gonna be the cover, right? Just as we had it. The alt attribute is gonna be title, right? Yeah, so that kind of sucks with those generic components because they're a bit useless. Shouldn't this be like cover or something? How do we make this a cover, right? Yeah, but it wasn't this BG cover coming with object fit? BG cover is an object fit. I think this is background size cover. Okay. Object cover. So we can't really use that. Okay, I see. Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't like it. I don't know why. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. That's a good point. Thank you. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Agreed. Wait. H full with full. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Even though it's not gonna, I think we just need the full width, not the height. We need to say H whatever. We need to contain the height, right, to something we like. Exactly. So let's say that height is going to be, I don't know, we'll see. It doesn't really matter, right? How did you put a background to your VS Code? There's an extension called backgrounds. I can share it with you now. There you go, buddy. All right, so let's go back here. So yeah, so let's imagine we have a card like that for now. This is also incredibly zoomed in. So if we zoom out, it's not that big. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Okay, so we'll play with that a bit, right? So for now, it's sufficient. Let's just say here, rounded SM. Just Just gonna remove that for now. Is there some other rounded property somewhere? I presume that there is. Yeah. Not a fan of that rounded crap, so for now let's keep it like that. Maybe I will see. Actually, let's not even play with that for now. So we have a card. Let's just replace the rest of those things. How did we? Would I recommend it using it for small projects? I think I would definitely recommend it to be used for anything, primarily because it's more of the pattern that you want to get used to than the size of the project itself, right? So Storybook, using Storybook is a matter of approach. It's a matter of how you build UIs, right? So think about Storybook almost as unit testing, right? A lot of developers blame their CTOs, team leads and stuff for them not writing unit tests. But really, truly, in theory, if you are writing unit tests, you're gonna write them either way because that's your workflow. That's how you think. That's how you work. So it's the same with Storybook. It's not a matter of a question. It's a matter of approach. And I think you should use Storybook for any sort of project because you want to get it. You want to get that workflow, you know, you want to make that a default. So whenever you're building any sort of project, that's how you start. You build your components in isolation, and then Storybook is not just about sandboxing the component that you're building. It's also about thinking about states, thinking about how does this look like if there's no, right? How does this card look like if there's no image, right? How does this look card if this and that, right? So that's why you want to have it. It's a mentality type of thing, right? And because that's what we're literally gonna do now, you know. You're gonna say here card, you're gonna say card without image, right? So we're not gonna pass any cover, right? So now we're gonna lay out all of those states, right? Where's our courses, where are you? Here. So now you can see we have a card without image, right? Etc, etc, right? So we'll need to lay out all of those states now, right? And then the question is going to be, are we going to... Leo, see you tomorrow, my friend. Have a great one. But for now, we're going to keep things very simple. All right. We don't care about how things look like, we just care about the layout for now. So let's just do the layout. We're gonna prettify things when we're far into the actual thing. So we're fine that things look like shit for now. That is perfectly fine. We just want to make sure now when we start hooking up with our API that, you know, values are shown and stuff like that. So we don't really care about anything else. And then lastly, we want to say Max, good evening, buddy. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Just you know, I have one trick for myself. Like try to sometimes literally behave like a compiler or interpreter or something like that, right? If you sometimes stumble upon the line of code that you don't know what it does, then just stop. Just as your program would fail if it has a variable that you're using that's not declared but used. I think. You know, try to do that as well, because there's a lot of concepts in that Discord that you wrote, and you have to really, they're not complicated, they're not hard to understand, but if you don't understand them, there's no chance that you can make those things work, right? All right, great. So now we have this, right? And it looks like shit, and that's completely fine. Again, we're not now at the place where we want to be dealing with a perfect UI or anything like that, right? So now we just want to basically, yeah, we just want to start hooking things up with our API. And then in time, we know last thing is going to be prettifying things, adding rounded corners and nice colors and stuff, just as we did before, right? I do support the idea of blockchain, but unfortunately, no, I'm not into that, no. All right, so okay, so good. So let's go to the courses here now, and the next thing, obviously, that we're gonna need is the form, right? So we need the form to create the first course, right? And yeah, so pretty much, you know, so let's keep on creating stuff. So create form. So let's create inside of components here, let's create a new folder called forms, just so we kind of namespace it a bit. And then we're going to say create course, right? Now we're going to use a bit ChatGPT to just save us time not writing generic stuffs. And then we're going to say create course JSX. We're going to export that from /create course, right? And then here we're going to, okay, let's try one thing. So if I go to, let's say, something, if I go to new article, right? And I copy just this example of my existing form. So what I want to try, and I'm gonna prime the ChatGPT. I'm gonna tell it, hey ChatGPT, given this form that I gave you, write a form for my create course, right? And it already has the context of create course because I used it when we designed the model and stuff. So if I technically go down, if I go down here, given my React form and my own components, create a form for create for course model that we discussed for my UI. Let's see if it's going to do it. Let's see if it's smart enough. Yeah, it literally did it. It literally did it. Oh my God, so amazing, so amazing. And I think this is not even 3 point. I think it did it, yeah. It did cut it. Let's try to regenerate. Okay, so let's grab this, and obviously, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, we would be pretty hypocritical if we assume that it has to give us literally everything perfectly, right? But you see, it saved us a lot of time, right? So Obviously, we're not going to be using fetch. We need our own service, right? But let's see if it... Okay, so this is actually fairly useless, and it's useless because, yeah, so let's start a new chat, right? So I'm going to go to my API, right? Let's go to my API here. Let's go to courses model, and let's try to prime it with this now, right? So if I take this course SQLize model, and I'm going to tell it something like this, but we need to use GTP4. Given my SQLize JS model or schema, and given this example of my React form. Give me 1 second. Thank you everybody for your follows and stuff. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry for not let me just write a new form in the same way for creating a course. Let's see if we can automate this so we don't write gibberish, right? Yes, just give it to me. Yeah, write it to me so I don't do it. Yeah, here we go. Let's see how good is it gonna do it. Exactly, it has a limit. Yeah, it's still worth it, man, so much. It's still worth it, like, a lot. I'm just waiting because it's a bit slow. Okay, but we're not gonna do it like this anyway. We're not gonna be using a Redux for this, I think. But it's okay. Alright, well, whatever, right? A bit, so let's get here, right? Let's actually copy our own stuff that we already have. Same, pretty much what CREP said. It's the same for me. Do I think that GPT is going to impact front-end developers or development in general? Of course it will, right? But in a good way, right? Software engineering is going to become even more consumer-oriented, so your algorithmical skills even more are become useless, and your problem-solving skill, your business domain knowledge and stuff is going to become way more important. So in a couple of years from now, being a good engineer, it's not going to have to do anything with how perfect your code is, because you're not going to be writing most of it anyway. It's going to be about focusing on understanding the business value, and being very valuable employee, or providing a lot of just value, right? So it's going to impact us, but not in a negative way necessarily. We're just going to be focusing more on building products and providing value, and not wasting time on writing gibberish, right? Well, okay, so it tried, right? Okay, so let's start, right? So Metal Dark, thank you very much, man. So I export course, create course, right? Writing code is meaningless, man, right? You have to, once you shift your mindset to understand that business, that you write only code as an output of business, right? Like, code itself is not where the value is. The solution or the business value is what solves the problem for the customers. You're not being paid to write code. You're being paid to solve problems of the customers, right? So nobody is evaluating your code as if you wrote code. Your code means nothing, right? It's like, you know, so if you're writing code that solves nothing, then how good or bad that code is meaningless, right? It's like, you know, Granik, hey, good evening, buddy. Well, you can go and sign up online, right? Absolutely not true. IT is all about the product. Everything is about product. The whole business, everything is about business. Everything is about IT supports the customer, not the code. There's no such thing as code. Code is an abstract thing. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Exactly, Tronic, exactly. Do you also think it's going to trigger creation of new drag and drop kind of tools? I mean, drag and drop, no, not really. I mean, those tools already exist and they are already heavily used, right? So those types of tools are already used, but they have a special place in the product development, right? I know, Tronic, exactly what you mean. Yeah, exactly. Create course. Okay, so again, let's focus on building functionality, and then once all of the courses feature works, we have the API and stuff, then we're gonna be doing more of the stuff, right? So me the biggest fan. All right, so yeah, so basically, user is in a course's view, right? So let's start let's build a boilerplate, right? Let's build a boilerplate, right? It doesn't really have to understand it, right? But I know what you mean, right? It just has to, yeah, exactly. So we are now, let me just create course, right? Okay, and then let's see, la. Why do I have, what is this? Ah, no, it's good, okay. So, okay, I need to now focus on the code. I can't chat that much, right? Okay, so we're gonna have this thing, right? We're gonna have some form. Create course, okay. How can new developers or want to be developers prepare for the role? I mean, it's gonna take a while, man, until all of this happens. But what you can do, again, you have to build things and you have to work on your soft skills, right? You have to work on yourself, basically, right? So the fundamental shift being a software engineer is going to move from just writing code to being articulated, being able to come up with solutions on the whiteboard, you know, for the users. So you should be also thinking about focusing on value for the customers more, right? Because as this stuff becomes automated, right, then you'll need to kind of focus more on the business itself, right? No, man. All good. So what do we have? Where's my APS? So let me just grab this stuff. so we can start fiddling with things, right? So our course has a title, right? So we're gonna have name, title, label, then this is gonna be text area, and this is gonna be description, right? Yeah. Is published. Okay, we're gonna kinda, yeah, so by default that's gonna be off. We can ignore that for now. Duration, type, input, la la la, yeah. Good, good. That's good. Happy to hear. Happy to hear. And what was our select actually taking? Select takes the same stuff, but then it takes the options, if I remember, right? How did I do it? I guess takes the options, right? Okay, so let's do the same here. So we're gonna have type, and then it's gonna be type, and then I guess it's gonna get the, let me actually find some places where I'm using select, right? Options and change, right? Great, okay. Awesome, okay. So let's do that, options. And then we're gonna have value, I guess, free. And then, what is it? Label, free, right? Actually, the value is gonna be lowercase free. And then, yeah, the other one is premium, right? Premium, and then this is gonna be premium. Yeah, exactly. Great. Duration is gonna be basically how long the course is. We'll need to see over time, right? How this is gonna play out with some of them, right? That's why we're not gonna focus too much, right? So input, this is gonna be input name, duration. I guess type is gonna be number, and then the label is also gonna be duration. And then, yeah, we'll see about this is published. For now, we're gonna kinda, yeah, we'll see about that, right? Okay. Hello, I had my first junior position interview and they asked me to join them for a day at the office to work on a task so that I can show my skills. Do you have any tips? Well, I think actually I've just recorded a video that I just recorded a video today that I didn't release yet. But I've just recorded a video actually that I'm about to edit on exactly on that subject. You can see it here. So I've recorded a video today on that subject as well. After this stream, I'm gonna release the video. And it speaks exactly about that. Now, what I can tell you now, based on that question, right, is that communicate as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes. I think it's a bit broad advice. But in simple words, like, the thing is, I'm gonna release this video to YouTube later, but in simple words, right, one of the biggest issues that people make in interviews, right, is that they don't know the importance of not asking questions. Because the thing is, when an interviewer in general asks you, do you have any question for us? If you say no, that reveals hundreds of questions that interviewer doesn't even have to ask. Because, for example, if you interview with me, I interview you, right? And then I ask you, hey, do you have any questions for us? And then you say no. What does that tell me? Well, that tells me many things. For example, it tells me that you probably never worked in a big team. It tells me that you have no idea about any Git strategy. It tells me about that you have no idea about processes at all. You don't care how do we push code, do we use continuous integration and deployment, what are our release cycles like, etc., etc. So this is a very important trick question. It's like when somebody asks you, do you have any question for us? And you say no, you basically reveal that either, so you reveal several things, either that you don't care, to, let me actually just, give me 1 second. Let me just ban this guy. There we go. So you either don't agree with, or you don't care about anything about the company, or you have no idea about what to ask. And if you don't know what to ask, what does that reveal about you? Well, it reveals about you that you're inexperienced. And of course, if you're talking about the junior position, I think that's perfectly fine. I think that it's okay that you don't know, but if you're senior, if you're somebody who perceives and sells themselves as a senior, and somebody then asks you, hey, do you have any question for us? And you say nothing, then technically, are you a senior? It's impossible that you have applied to some company, you have no idea how it works, and then at the end of that, you're like, oh, I have nothing to ask. What? You don't care who you're gonna work with, you don't care how are we working, how are we pushing code, and how frequent, what is the process, how do we release code, how do the code reviews look like, right? So those are the fundamental questions you have to ask. Now, and maybe another advice that I can give you for interviews, and you can listen to that in my video later, but another advice I can give you when it comes to interviews is that every single statement you make can be used as the next question by the interviewer. So for example, try to avoid broad and stupid statements. Like for example, somebody asks you about, I don't know, some front-end framework, and you say, oh, I don't know, React is so much better than Angular, or some stupid shit like that, right? And then what I would do in that sense, I would ask you, oh really, okay, why? And then you can't really say why, because the statement itself is dumb like hell, because that statement is first inaccurate, and number two, you can't. So try to avoid things which, if turned into a question, you can't respond to. So if you say that something is better than something, or if you're making this generalization or very broad statement, be ready to be asked about it in the next question. Because a lot of people that I interviewed, they literally bury themselves. They say things which they shouldn't have said at the first place because they have no value. And then when they say those things and when I ask them about it, they can't do anything, right? They can't say anything. So in simple words, right, you have to don't say things which, number one, you can't cover with any facts or argumentation, right? Sure, I mean, if Tronic, if people already say everything like how they work, right, then sure, right, it's not really a general thing for every single interview. But if they don't, right, and then you don't ask anything, then it's not good, right? Fair enough. I mean, some companies are better at that than some others, right? So it definitely happens, right? It definitely happens, right? So Madman, you know, as Chica said, feel free to not know. Okay, he didn't say that, but I said that in my video. When you don't know something, feel free to ask. The thing is, you know, when I'm hiring people, I care way more about their personality than their necessarily hard technical skills, because I can teach a person what a API is or what a hook is or something. What I can't teach a person is not to be an asshole, right? So for example, when I try to decipher some specific behavior of a candidate, I try to put them in a position where they don't know something, right? And all of us can do this to each other. We can all find questions where we know that we don't know the answer. And then I do that simply because I want to see how does that person behave when they don't know something. Are they becoming defensive? Are they becoming offensive? Are they trying to bullshit their way out of it? Are they being stressed? Or are they just saying, hey, sorry man, I don't know, can you give me a hand? Can you help me out? Or, right? So in simple words, it's fine not to know things. And that's what I would want to see. Okay, you know, Madman doesn't know this. He came to me and it's like, hey, Alex, you know, I'm stuck here. Would you mind giving me a hand? You know, I would see how you communicate that. I would see how uncomfortable you are not knowing something, right? So in simple words, that day that you're going to spend in the office, communicate, you know, be kind and stuff. And, you know, yeah. My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. I implemented this and I forgot how I implemented it. It's crazy. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the API because I'm using the schemas in kind of isomorphic way, right? So I can literally use the same schema in the backend and front end, which is nice. So I'm literally gonna take this from my API and then I'm gonna smack it here, right? And then here we're gonna have, because I'm using AGV right in my front and my back, right? So we're gonna have title, description, duration, yes. Okay, so that's fine, right? So now we can reference those things, right? Alrighty, and then lastly here, we're gonna do duration. And that's okay, good. Now we don't really need to wrap this in a form. We're not gonna be using any native form event or anything like that, right? So we're not gonna be using on submit, right? Instead, we're gonna be firing this on click, right? So when you click, we wanna call handle create, right? And then lastly, yeah, we're gonna need to do the validation part as well, right? So we're gonna, before we call this thing, we're gonna have to say form. So if form, and this is the hook that I kind of built in this whole system, the whole UI library. So it's kind of very easy for me to, because there's no external libraries here. So if form is invalid, I think I implemented it that way. Let me actually see. How did I implement it? What the fuck is this? I think I called it is valid. Yeah. Hey, so form is valid. If it's not valid, you know, return. Otherwise, here we're gonna give it the form data, I believe. That's kind of fine. So we're almost kind of at the place where we can start kind of hitting this. And again, we don't care about how things look like. We are now, for 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 streams, we're going to be just focusing on building functionality. So we're going to build things in a very shitty way to say, right? So here we can say is creating course set, is creating course state, and then we'll figure out like a perfect UI eventually, right? Like where do we want to model when you're creating a course or whatever, right? And then somewhere around here we're gonna say, yeah, we just can say, you know, is creating a course, and then we're gonna render this create course form, right? And then this should be set is creating course, right? And then obviously here on a button, we're gonna say on click. We're gonna just have an anonymous function that's gonna say true, right? Great. And yeah, I can see that this import was wrong. So inside of okay, this is the API. Let's go back here, right? So we can see that, yeah. So this import was actually wrong. I don't know why it imported it from the wrong place, but this should be the correct place, right? Okay, create course. Let's see what's happening. So probably some... Is this project open source? Unfortunately, it is not, no. Okay, and one of those things, title, description, duration, and type. Title, description, type, duration, title, description. From that state, type value, type error, value error. Yeah, that's good. Which one of those did we mistype? Form state duration error. Let me see what's happening. So we're missing a type in there, right? Yeah. That's kind of strange. Yeah, we're missing a type here, right? So the type is going to be of type enum, right? And then it's going to be free or premium, right? Yeah, okay, so we get a basic form, right? So now we can start actually doing stuff. Clearly, like, again, we're not going to be spending too much time on the details. Details are going to come last. So when we are fully functional, when we can create all of it, then we're going to take one stream and we're going to make things pretty. We're going to make them look nice and all of that gibberish, right? For now, we'll just do the basic stuff. Because, you know, we need to get to the point of, you know, caring about that sort of stuff, right? All right, cool. So we have that now, and we need an onChange handler, right? So we need, let's go back to the UI. So over here, we just need the form, set form state. So essentially, that's how I build this whole library, right? So here I can just say onChange. I just say form.setFormState. And pretty much I do that for every single input, right? I do that over here, and then that should be fine, right? So now we should actually be able to type stuff in except here, right? And that's, yeah, we have to, how am I actually using my selects in other places? I don't remember, it's been a while. Handle change set form state. Okay, so what are we missing? I think all of this is fine. HRV, good evening, buddy. Good evening. Okay, so let's see about this. So going back here, right? So let's just figure out what am I doing wrong here. Value and error, right? Label max default value. Okay, let me just find, let's go to new article, right, or something. Let me just get inspired. Evening to you as well, buddy. So let's find async select. Yeah, load option, no. Let's go to personal information, whatever, right? Do we have a, yeah, okay. So on change, handle change, we have options with value and label, so that's good. Ah, okay, so the value we're giving it is kind of wrong. I see. And then probably the error and the value and autocomplete, la 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 la. Okay, good. So if we go back to our new form we're creating here, right? So if we go to select, so the value has to look like this, right? Where was this? Form state country, okay. I see, okay. It's just, I guess, a bit strange way, the way that I implemented. Let's see. All right, let's try that. Yeah, okay, that's good, great. Let's just replace one thing, so this should be value, and then this should be label, or label. And yeah, it doesn't kind of like that, so that's... that kind of sucks, but we'll have to fix that another time, right? Okay, so that's good. So let's start, actually, let's start calling this, right? Let's start calling this, right? So let's try to... Let's see if we're actually getting any validation errors. Let's see. So we are getting invalid. Why are they not passed to our inputs? Error, form state, title. Yeah. Form state title. So why are the errors actually not set? That's not good. Let's go to the actual front. Yeah, maybe because we don't have any error messages, maybe, right? Let me actually see here now. Yeah, okay. Right, we just forgot to add this stuff, right? Yeah, so let's just, yeah. Yep, exactly, right? Okay, good. Now, the fact is that, yeah, we don't... The enum is always going to be there, so... It's phase. Good evening, my dear friend. So that's pretty cool, right? So let's try to say now this is our first course. This is the first description, right? Free iteration 1, okay? So it's still saying that state is invalid, so let's see why. what is it that it dislikes now? This is the first course, la 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 la. Technically now it should be correct, right? So let's see. Maybe because this, I see, probably because we are passing an integer here, and let's try to give it a string, and let's see now. So try this. Okay, good, must be a string. Okay, well, it's not good, right? Okay. So integer, sure. Let's see, duration, integer. Let me go to my use form. Thank you very much for the follow, guys. Appreciate it. Let me just print the errors here, actually, because I've built this hook myself, so there's some internal stuff that I'm not really exposing when this thing happens. So let's try that again. Free, whatever. Let's see. Did I actually? If it's invalid, what? Ah, shit, my bad. So if it's invalid, we want to print this. Jesus Christ. Okay, all good, all good. All good deal. Okay, so now we should be technically calling the courses. And actually, yeah, so we did create... So we can see we did actually create the course, right? So that's pretty cool, right? So we have created 2 courses now, right? If we actually go to my API here and we take a look at the database, right? We should actually see that we have 2 courses created. They're free. This one, the duration, la la la, right? And I can already see that this duration is probably not going to be there when we release. It's kind of useless. But okay, so now we have created 2 courses, right? Yeah. So I think we need to do one thing. We need to go here to the controller. Let's actually open our Swagger, right? So if we take a look at our Swagger, I don't remember from yesterday and day before that, like, what did we do? Did we create get courses at all? Let's see, courses. Yeah, so nope. So we need one more endpoint, right, to get all of the courses, and we need that for the courses page, right? So let's do that quickly, right? So let's go to get course, and we're literally gonna copy paste the same stuff, right? We're gonna call it get courses, right? And we're gonna say find all, right? Instead, we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna get rid of that, right? We're gonna do some joins in each course to get the students and the ratings on the courses, right? Let's make this plural, right? So courses. If there's no courses, return. You know, there's no, even though this is very less likely, but right? But let's see here. Let's say here, no courses. Courses found. And yeah, so we're gonna kind of get down here. Yeah, and then we're gonna go to the router right over here. We're gonna search for get course. We're gonna find that router, right? And we're gonna pretty much do this. We're gonna remove this ID, right? We're gonna go here. We're gonna import this fella. And then we need to update the JSON schema, right? So, so what I'm actually going to do, get course schema, yes, okay. I'm actually going to use ChatGPT just because I don't feel like writing that gibberish right now. So I'm actually gonna go here. Gonna go to that same context I was using. Where is it? Where is it? Courses something, right? Here it is. Can I somehow, like, Jesus Christ. Give me 1 second. I just want to try one thing. This was a huge discussion. How can I change them? Like, are you kidding me that I can't change the model here in this discussion? Like, can I not change the model now? Because it knows the context already. It just kind of sucks that it's using the old stuff. Yeah, I don't know, actually. It's fine. Okay, let's go back here and let's go to the actual schemas right here. Okay, I think that's kind of fine, right? So let's go to our Thunder client, right? Let's just test this before we go back to the UI. So courses, let's create a new one here. Let's say get courses. And then we're gonna just do this. We're gonna try running this right away. So there's no courses right now. Let's try to create one. Ah, shit. Let's let's log in. Let's go here. Let's grab a JSON Web JVT, JSON Web Token, right? Let's go here. Let's update this stuff. Jace, oh my god, I got worried. Good evening. So let's create some courses here. Actually, the microphone is in my face. This is just my validation phase, right? This is how I validate my input, right? Okay, so here are the courses. So now we have them. Okay, great. So, so let's go back to the UI, right? And then now we can actually create courses here, right? So for now, right, let's, my pleasure, man, my pleasure. So now when we create a course, let's just say, hey, this UI is going to change. We're not going for perfection now. We're going now just for functionality, right? So once this happens successfully, hopefully we should also kind of wrap this in a try catch, right? Just so we can handle the error if the creation fails, right? But yeah, let's say for now, obviously we're going to change that in a second. And here we want to say set is well, and also I guess we want to move this outside so we can actually have this over here, right? And we're gonna move this fella there as well. And then we'll move this obviously in its own file and stuff. But again, we're gonna get there in steps. We can't be getting carried away by too much stuff, right? So let's say here handle create. And then we're gonna also import, and we're gonna also pass the form and handle create, right? What else do we need? That's, I think, perfect. And then yeah, so we're gonna have to import the request here as well. So let's just say request, my own service that I kind of made for this whole project. And yeah, and now basically here we're gonna have finally in a try catch, and we can say set is creating course false. Great. Okay, beautiful. Great. Okay, so let's try this now. Blah blah blah. Okay, it doesn't like something. Let's see. we forgot to give it an actual form, right? Create course, and we create a course, right? We create it, it's closed, and then if we basically go, and because we're gonna do that in the UI now, let's try to get the courses again. You can see here's the course that we just created, right? Thank you very much, Jace. We're gonna play them soon, I hope. We're gonna do some playing here. Okay, and now let's do another service, right? So when we get here to courses, we wanna fetch them of course, right? When we get to the courses page. So let's just have a use effect here. And yeah. And what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna say request.get, right? We're gonna say API v1 courses exactly. And let's say here get courses. Yeah, actually, let's just use this copilot, right? That's not super useful, right? But let's create another state here. Let's just say courses, right? And set courses, and then it's going to be an empty array, right? And let's introduce a few more state values. So const is loading courses, set is loading courses, right? Default state is going to be true, because when this view loads, we will be indeed loading courses, right? Yeah, so here we're going to say set is loading courses true. And then finally, no matter what, we're going to be set is loading courses. For whatever reason, it didn't do that properly. Right? Great. And then, yeah, then we're gonna set the courses here, hopefully, when we get them. So we're gonna destructure the data. Yeah, and then here we're gonna say, you know, set courses to data, right? We're gonna handle all of those errors in a second. And then obviously when this effect happens, we wanna call the, you know, get courses. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to that. Now, obviously we need a spinner here, right? So we'll need some courses list component. We're not gonna abstract that away because we already have the card that we created. So here we pretty much gonna say, hey, you know, courses dot, and we're gonna have to add a spinner in a second. And then here we're gonna return actually that course card that we created. So how do we call it? Course card. Yeah. And then here we're gonna pass it. So we don't really have an author, so that kind of sucks. So we'll need to figure out if we can get if we can actually go to the API. Let's go to yeah. So if we go to get courses, right? I think we need to do another join here. Let's try with the ChatGPT if it can help us. Can you join a user here as well? Let's see, I don't remember how I did the model. Yeah, but the question is, did we create this relation? I think we did. I think this should be kind of fine, right? In our API. Let's see. I think it should, right? So we are doing basically three left joins here, right? So course card. We need a key here, I guess it's complaining. So let's say course ID, I guess. Are we returning the ID? Actually, I don't remember. Let's take a look at that. If we go to the schema here, do we return a course ID? We do. Okay, so we can then use that, sure. And then, so we can say here, what else do we say? Author is, you know, course.author. We're gonna say, well, it's not called cover in the API. How is it called here? Does it have an image of some sort? Yeah, so we don't actually have that in the API. I've never really added the course image. So let's implement that, right? Just quickly. So those are the tiny things we just have to write. So here I'm gonna say, you know, let's just call it an image instead, right? And it's gonna be type string allow null true. So you don't have to have an image, I guess, for a course. We'll see. But probably you would want to have one, right? And then so if we go to the actual schemas, right, we need to update two JSON schemas, right? So here we can say image, right, and it's type string. It's gonna be a format URI, but for now I'm not gonna be actually implementing uploading of the image now anyway. Get course schema, so it's okay, right? It's okay for now. And then let me just go 1 second. And actually, to improve this thing here, right? So we have this items, which is of type object. So instead of duplicating the same crap twice, right? Here we can just say that items are get course schema. Give me 1 second. So it would be get course schema. This would be like get course schema dot response dot 200, right? Yeah. So something like this, right? I think that's sufficient. Okay, cool. So we have extended the course now with let's also let's kind of also say here, can I still create a course? I can. You can see image is null, but if I provided an image now, http some image.com, right? Yeah, we have already that functionality, yes. So we have to check the extension, image size, la la la. It's just tonight I'm not gonna do it, right? And then we need to go to the actual controller. Far from production. I mean, there's nothing to be in production yet, Jace. We're now building the very first version of the UI, right? So definitely not. You can see that we're not. It's gonna take us maybe 3 or 4 streams to hopefully finalize it so I can start building the first course. Okay, let's test this. Okay, so now we can see that it works. Let's go back to the UI, right? And yeah, just for fun, again, we're not gonna be implementing any image upload for now. So let's leave this. Let's just leave a comment here of some sort. Actually, no, it's okay. We can just omit that for now. And so actually, if we go to the UI now, let's try to create a few of the courses through here, right? Let's now try to fetch them here. Are we actually fetching them? I don't see that we are. Let's see, network. Okay, so user is associated to course multiple times. To identify the correct association, you must use the as keyword, specify the alias to the... Okay, I think I know what I forgot to do. Give me 2 seconds. I think get courses, right? So I think here should be course author. Yeah, it's not failing now, but let's try to create a few of the courses, and then we're gonna do them through the UI, right? All right, so I think we're good. So I can see that we are kind of getting them. We're not getting an author though, but we're not getting an author, right? Because we haven't extended the schema, right? So let's go back to so it's going to be a bit of back and forth between the back end and front end, and that's kind of expected, right? Because it would be silly. We have built 16 endpoints in 2 streams, right? So it would be a bit silly to not expect a bit of this, right? So get courses schema, right? And now we need a course author right here. So where are we? Get course schema. Yeah, exactly. So somewhere around here now, we need like course author, which is going to be type of object, and then it's going to have properties. And then let's go to user model, and somewhere let's find user 200. So Tobbs, oh my god. Good evening, Tobbs. User 200. What was it? User 200. or user response. Yeah, user response schema. Exactly. This is what I wanted. I just want to copy. So user response schema. Yeah. Okay. And then of course we're gonna limit this sort of stuff, right? We don't want to get the whole user, right? So, but regardless, right, we're gonna have to select. So actually, let's do that. Let's do that already. Let's do that already. Let me just think for a second. So get courses. Yeah. So let's say here. No. Let's say here. Well, through is, let's say here, select. Or what was it? Attributes, I think. I think we can select here, and then here I can say I just want the ID, username, email, maybe avatar. We'll see. Good, Tops. Good. We're kicking ass. We're still here. We're still having fun. So I would say it's going. Considering we're still here and I'm still showing up and streaming after work and kid and wife and family and stuff, right? I would say we're still good, right? That's what I would like to believe. Generate JSON schema, generate AJV schema for these properties. Thank you very much, everybody, by the way, for your follows and stuff. Appreciate it. Okay. So let's get back. Where were we? So assuming this ends up working, of course, then get course schema. And then over here, Jesus Christ, man, come on. Where are you? Live, thank you very much, man. Seriously, appreciate it. Course response schema, no. What was I even looking at, man? I completely lost myself now. Course schema, right? Yeah, okay. Course author, okay. Okay, assuming this ends up working now, right? I don't actually know, but let's create a few courses, right? And then let's get them here. ID is required, okay. Well, actually, it's not really. I don't really need an ID. So username, email, first name, and last name. Let's try that again. Let's try to get them. ID is required. ID is required. Where? Oh, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Sorry. So, yeah, I think it's probably, I don't know. Let's see. Username is required. Okay, so it doesn't seem like we're pulling stuff from here, right? Course author. Okay, let's try that again. Savak, thank you very much, man. Yeah, so I'm not... It's just like we're doing this fairly fast. I'm not actually quite sure. Okay, let's try that again. Username is required. Yeah, I know that it's complaining about that stuff for sure, right? But let's not... Okay, I see. So let's comment this out. Let's see what it actually returns, right? It doesn't seem we're doing a join properly, right? So let's do this a few more times. Let's try to get the courses, and we can see that course author. Yeah, where is it? Where's our controller? Otherwise, I'll just wait. Let me try that again. Course author. If we actually take a look at the database, let's take a look at the course, right? So what does the course have? Well, we don't really have association between a course and an author, right? So we would need to kind of create one, right? I think that is probably the problem. But we do have, though, we have the course author, which is a it's basically a junction table, right? Actually, I don't know if you see it. So we have a course author, which has course ID and author ID, right? So so this should technically okay, so what we actually gonna do for now, because I can do this off stream as well, I think it's gonna be better. So let's just forget about that for a second. And let's comment that out. I'll fix this on my own. So let's just not return the user for now. And then if we go back to the UI, because I don't wanna actually waste too much time on that. So let's go to our course card. And let's just not take in the author yet. Let's comment this out as well. And then we can kind of, yeah, so if we if we do this a few times, right, and now go to the UI and try to get the courses here, we can kind of see that we're actually getting them, right? Let's update the UI so it actually uses the title, right? So where, yeah. So let's do this, right? So now again, we have finished the API past 2 days. So now we are not making things to look perfect, whatever. What we're basically doing is just, we need to build the whole functionality, right? So basically, for those of you who are just watching, right, we need to build this UI. So this is low fidelity now, right? So we're gonna build all of this layout, and then at the end of this feature, once we implement it, we're gonna then do the colors and making things nicer, doing the pixel perfect stuff, right? For now, we don't actually care about that, right? We're not at the stage where we should be. We want to provide, we want to build things, right? Okay, so what do we have? A rating, cover, title, and I guess description. I don't actually. Yeah, we do have the description. Okay, so let's smack that description somewhere as well, right? So we have that here. What if we kind of do this and we say description, right? And then we pass that prop here, right? And then yeah, pretty much over here, just as always, we say course.description. We can destructure this, of course, and we probably should. So we should say something like this, right? Let's see if yeah, ID, title, description, right? And then we can just get rid of this stuff here, right? All right, cool. So let's, yeah, great. So again, let's just build the functionality. So so let's wrap this bad boy into a div, right? Let's make it a flex. So flex gap 2 or whatever 4, right? And then obviously we want to flex wrap and stuff like that. And thank you everybody for your follows, guys. Seriously, appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here as well. And I hope you are having fun and learning something new, if nothing else. And let's say if flex wrap or whatever was the utility in Tailwind, I don't actually remember. Yeah, it's flex wrap, right? Yeah. So that's good. That's good. So again, this is going to end up eventually looking amazing as everything else we have in the product. But for now, we don't actually care about amazingness. We just care about functionality. That's where the, right. Okay, great. So we can create a course now here. And actually, let's just use our own button that we built ourselves. So at least it doesn't look completely disgusting. The font that I'm using is JetBrains ML. I'm going to share it with you right now. There you go. Okay, so let's now make sure that this effect... my pleasure, man. My pleasure. So what we're going to do next is... actually, let me just go to my API and let's make sure... Does my... let's take a look at create course. So if we go here, do we actually return the newly created course is the question. And we do, right? So we do create it, which means that, yeah. But let's actually just double check that in the UI, making sure that the schema in the API as well. But if so, then we can push the newly returned one to this list and then it's gonna appear there, right? So if I say, hey everyone, you know, thanks for being here. Let's fill in this stuff, let's fill in that. So if I click create, so we do get the response back, and that's amazing, amazing, right? Okay, that's actually really good, right? Because now here we can actually get this response, so we can say const data, right? We can just say, we can alias it with created, right? And then we can say, okay, great. So we're gonna say now, you know, set, what is it called? Set, or whatever, set courses, right? And then we can put this one as the first one and then spread the rest of them. So we're gonna say created and then courses, right? And of course, this Copilot thing is messing with me a bit, right? And let's try that again. Again, let's not worry too much about the UI and stuff. Nobody cares. We're at the point of functionality. We don't really care. Let's see, what did it not like? Now, courses map is not a function. Ah, okay, sorry. Instead, we should spread it as an array, not as an object, right? So we need to fix this fella over here. So this is an array, it's not an object, right? Okay, that's great. So let's get back to it. And yeah, we do the stuff again. La la la, la la la, and create, right? And yeah, it's right here. Okay, great, great. One thing that we forgot, of course, to do here is we're missing our spinner, right? So I guess, you know, we're gonna say here, you know, is loading, right? Courses, if so, show the actual spinner from our core library, otherwise show the actual stuff, right? So if we now kind of refresh this, we should see a quick spinner, right? What we actually have to do here, probably what would be nice, let's just make sure it's centered on the page, right? So we can say class name is flex justify center items center, right? So it's just centered somewhere, and then we can add a bit of padding, vertical padding. So let's say 12 maybe, that's 48 pixels to the top, 48 pixels to the bottom, right? Now, of course, this happens incredibly fast now, but yeah, definitely if we ever get to the point of having many courses here, we'll need a spinner, right? Okay, great, super. So what next, right? So again, worth mentioning, we don't care about how things look like at this point, we just care about functionality. So so basically, yeah, so now next thing is obviously when I click on a single course, right, I should be going to that course, meaning so now we are here. So now we have kind of boilerplated this. Now when I actually click on one of those guys, well, now we need to kind of get to a state like this, right? But we'll see how this goes. Thank you very much for the follow. I cannot pronounce that name. So now when we click on this, we want to get here, right? But now, right, there's really no, we haven't created sections yet, so we're gonna need, so now I guess when you, so we need to figure out how do we want to do this, right? Because to create to have a course, you need to create a course, sections, and then in each section you have to create lectures, right? So next 2-3 streams, probably we're gonna be finalizing we're gonna be doing all of this, right? So let's kind of create at least the form. So, you know, once we end the stream, we have done as much as we possibly can. So we have create course, create section. And good thing is now that we can just copy paste those forms and just duplicate the stuff. And then we have to create, actually, before we copy paste too many things, let's finish this one first. So create section, JSX. And then, index, right? Index JSX. Actually, just drag it so you can see it. I can see that this camera is a bit annoying. And then, yeah, export all from ./this stuff, right? And then, yeah, export const create section. And pretty much you can think about it, right? We're gonna just copy paste this stuff, right? And we're gonna pretty much, it's gonna be almost the same. It's gonna be called create section. It's gonna also take form and handle create, right? We just don't know where is it gonna be. And then if we go if we actually open up our Swagger, right? That's why we have it, right? To make it easy for ourselves. So if we go to our README and open up our beautiful Swagger, right? I mean, actually, it keeps opening on a screen above. Actually, it's probably opened already. Yes. So let's see what create section actually takes. Title, description, and order. In fact, it only takes title and description. So that's great. So it's even simpler than the form, right? So create section. So we don't need this fella over here. So we just need, what was it? A title and description, right? Beautiful. Okay. But then, of course, nah, that feels actually pretty wrong. I don't agree with this. Where's the? We also need to associate it to a course that it belongs to, right? So let's actually see. That doesn't seem right. Create section. It takes the course ID, right? Exactly. But as the request parameters. Okay, so maybe, sorry, my bad. So it is here. We're just passing it as a request parameter, right? Okay, sure. Okay. Well, that means that in here, right, we're gonna need the course, right? Course ID. And then this is just gonna say course, right? It's like choose a course for which you wanna make this section, right? So basically, I can already see that we're gonna need a new endpoint that returns the list of courses by the logged in user, by the author, right? So we can see clearly here that those options here, and actually, yeah, let me just revert this for a second. So actually we do need this select, right? But this select is going to be, so this is going to be title, description, and then this fella here is going to be, it's going to be course ID, right? So it's going to be course ID. That's going to be the value we're going to get out of this. Then course, right? And then the options here are going to be like, you know, something like value is going to be like, I don't know, 1. And then the course name is going to be like introduction to Fastify JS. I mean, that's the course that I'm going to be recording when we finish this thing, right? And then here it's going to be like handling intro to React, I don't know, state management. Jace, I think I've pasted it several times, right? Let me do it once more. So I think let me just give it to you. Here it is. Enjoy. Okay, but so I've just hard coded this for now, right? And then yeah. So let's just say here create section. And then let's actually go back here. Let's just say create course, right? My pleasure, Jace, my pleasure. And then lastly, right, let's create another form. We're gonna have create lecture, right? And pretty much the same stuff, right? So just gonna boilerplate stuff. Create lecture JSX. Export all from / create lecture. And then, yeah, so just copy this into create lecture, right? As always, let's name this create lecture. And that, again, even this copy and stuff over time, we're going to change. Again, we focus only on functionality, right? So now if we go here, let's see how do we create a lecture. So sections, lectures. So this is how we create a lecture, right? So it has a title, image, video URL, and cost. So this form is going to be the most complex one, because also it's going to have tip tab, like rich text editing and stuff. So yeah, so this is going to be a bit, so let me just put this stuff from my Swagger here. So we're going to have title, which we already have. Nice. So we're not going to have description, so we can get rid of that. We're going to have content, tip tab content, right? We're going to have image URL, so name image URL. Image. Good evening, Obi, my friend. Good evening. And then this should be actually called... Oh, no, I actually messed that up. This should be title. And then this thing should be image URL. Yes, and then we're gonna have video URL, right, as well. So we're gonna have a video URL. So a lot of kinda similar stuff, right? And that's okay. That's necessary, right? Title. So let's get rid of that. And lastly here, right, we're gonna have the content, which is gonna be our TipTap editor, right? So we're gonna actually say TipTap here. And then if I go to new article, for example, I can find TipTap here. And then I can pretty much kind of do stuff, kind of, you know, I don't actually remember all of this. Like building this as a single person almost is it's not easy, I can tell you that, right? So, and then here we can do this, right? Editor ref, Heisenbox, thank you very much, bro. Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. And then editor ref, right? Yeah, so let's do this as well here. Jace, likewise, thank you very much for being here. And where is this editor state? Get editor state. Okay, never mind. So that's okay. We are fine with that. So editor state in that. So this is gonna be basically form dot content. I assume. How did I implement this? Get editor state, location state. Yeah, we'll see about that, right? We're not gonna implement that fully now. Anyway, this is just a kind of boilerplating stuff. So we're gonna have TipTap there, TipTap. Let me just, it's kind of funny that we don't have, yeah, okay, well, fair enough, all right. So good, so we have basically those forms now. Let me just clean this up. Is there something else that we, Nice, man. Yeah, please, guys, if you haven't, right, just go and sign up on Programmer Network. I made it really easy. You can really sign up with GitHub, Twitch, and LinkedIn, also with the username and password, right? So a lot of people are kind of signing up in our stream. Actually, this stream, we got 4 new people. So yeah, just to get in and, yeah, help us, you know, just pay attention to, right? If you're going to stick around those streams, the only thing I would ask you to do is just sign up and, you know, follow the progress here and there. You don't have to, obviously, nor you will watch me all the time, clearly, right? But, you know, it would be nice to see you guys around, right? And let me just do one thing. So actually now if I go here, we're going to need 2 inputs that look like this. So select input. So for the lecture, we're gonna need, so when you create a lecture, you're gonna have to choose basically a section that it belongs to, right? And I guess maybe the course as well, right? So let's kind of put this fella over here, right? And then if we go here, so course ID and section ID, right? So so here we're gonna say course ID, yeah. Fast chat, good evening to you, buddy, as well. Good evening. And then, so course ID. And then this is going to be like, right, it's going to be section ID. And I can already see, right, that this is kind of going to be conditional field, right? So when you choose a course, I have to fill this in I have to show the sections for that given course, right? So we're gonna actually put this. So title is gonna be first, and that's okay. But then we're gonna have something like this, right? We're not gonna do that now, anyway, in this stream. But yeah. And then this can be, I don't know, section 1, because we will need to obviously hook this up with the APIs and stuff, and we will. It's okay. But we can see that this is going to be conditional in a way. So first, so this is going to be disabled by default. So you're going to actually fill in some, you're going to select a course. And then once you select a course, based on that course, we're going to fetch the sections for this select. So we can see that this form is going to be slightly more complicated. I wouldn't say that it's going to be complicated, but yeah, it's just going to be slightly more complicated than the other two, because the other two are pretty static and pretty simple, right? Okay, so that's fine, right? So yeah, okay, great. So we got the forms down. We obviously they're not tagged. We need to figure out now where do we actually want to, how we need to figure out the user kind of user story, user experience, right? So when you create a course, right, like what happens is, you know, like where do you continue the creation? So we need some sort of a course dashboard, right? Because right now I've put the button here, right, just because we're kind of slowly connecting now stuff with the APIs that we've built. But I think generally, right, we probably gonna need some sort of a dashboard, right? So instead of kind of creating a course here, right, maybe we need something in your dashboard, right? Right, so you know, like you know, courses, you know, dashboard, right? And then here you'll be basically doing all of the stuff, right? Like so you're gonna have your courses that you've created. Then you click on one, and then you get into some sort of a view, right, where you see the sections and yeah, exactly, Pepper. I agree, right? So for sure, right, we need to have this as part of your dashboard where, you know, you just so you click on a course, right, and you kind of some view opens up, right, and then you can kind of we need to figure that out, right? That we obviously need to figure that out. But maybe you're gonna see the sidebar similar to the one that says, you know, add sections, right? So basically, so what we could kind of technically do, right? If I go all the way down, let's see, right? So that dashboard could look something like this, right? So here on the side, you know, it says, you know, it sees here, it says course title. Right? It says course title, and then here it says, you know, like add section, right? And then once you add your first section, it's gonna kind of appear here, like, I don't know, introduction, whatever. And then once the section appears, under that section you get another plus that says add lecture, right? And then, so you get what I mean, right? So beneath every kind of last lecture, so imagine we have lecture 1, lecture 2, there's always going to be a plus that where you can create. So for each given section, you can create a lecture. And if there's no lectures, you're going to see this button here. So once you add one section, then this button goes beneath that, right? So I think something like that would be very intuitive, right? So, and then because I already implemented the API for reordering them and stuff, right? I think we have like order or something, right? Where was it? Or sort, I think. Yeah, sort lectures, right? And you're gonna be sorting lectures. So in simple words, what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is this. Essentially, if we zoom out a bit, so thank you very much, everybody, for the follows, guys. Dave, thank you very much, man. So you can see here, so this is what I'm talking about. So in the creator dashboard, right, you can have, so you're gonna create this, this guy. So this is the section itself, right? This thing here. So this is the section. So once you create the section, you're gonna get the plus like here. And then you're going to be creating lectures for that given context. And then somewhere below here, you're going to see another plus that says add section or something like that, right? So I like that. I'm just talking to myself, but I actually like that. I think that kind of makes sense, right? I think that makes sense. I think that's pretty okay, right? Pretty okay. Okay, good. And actually, this template, we're gonna steal a bit of HTML from this. I think this comes from Tailwind UI, and since I've spent like $300 on that long ago and I've never used it once, I think we're gonna save ourselves some time. I think I found it somewhere around here. I don't actually remember where I got inspired. Yeah, I think it's this one, right? So tomorrow, or maybe after tomorrow, depending how much we get to tomorrow as well, I think we're gonna kind of steal this stuff, because I also kind of like this line in the left, and I don't want to be building that myself with CSS, right? So we're basically gonna grab some of this inspiration and stuff anyway, so we're gonna kind of steal this part of the layout. So we'll for sure have something like this, because I really like it. So this is kind of the layout of the course that we're gonna have approximately, right? With the exception, of course, you're gonna be able to reorder the lectures which are part of the section, so you're going to be able to drag and drop those things. So we're going to have to implement some drag and drop functionality, right? Just for ordering and stuff. But I think that's the plan. I think we have a plan for tomorrow, and I like it. I think that's pretty good. All right, good. Is this a way to download? Yes, you can download some RAM. Yes, absolutely. If you go to this website, you can download some RAM for sure. Okay, great. I think that's good. I think I'm gonna round up here. So tomorrow, basically, we're gonna continue smashing this. And I guess next thing is basically building this kind of dashboard for creating all of this stuff, right? So we kind of gonna focus on that tomorrow, right? So before we kind of round up, let's go to our backlog, right? So just so we know where we actually gonna stop. Yes, Pepper, that's exactly what we're gonna do. That's exactly what we're gonna do, yes. Yep, exactly. 100%. 100% Pepper, yes. So create courses dashboard. So you're absolutely right. Yes, that is the plan. A dashboard where user creates courses. 100% Pepper. Very good idea. Very much agree with you. Thank you very much for the input. As always, highly appreciated the feedback. That's why I'm here. Eventually, as suggested by show course statistics, etc. So yeah, so that's where we're going to continue tomorrow. We're going to build the dashboard so you can create, it's going to be super simple, right? That stuff, that's good, where you can reorder things, and then once you can create the full kind of thing, so you can create a course and then sections and then the lectures themselves, then we're gonna so this is gonna be the actual, just where you see all of the courses. This is gonna be that like a courses landing page, right? And then so like Pepper suggested, we're gonna kind of separate the creation part, the administration part, from the stuff that everybody sees, right? So we're gonna be building this somewhere inside of the dashboard. Probably we're gonna add another tab tomorrow. It's gonna be called courses or something here, right? And let me, before I go to bed, I need to go to work tomorrow. Let's just so let's just for now create another thing just for tomorrow. Let's call it courses, right? And then where is this import, right? So we're just gonna create a placeholder for now, and let's call it courses dashboard goes here, right? And of course, as this thing grows over time, as we build more and more features into the platform, we're gonna obviously then have to redesign this whole dashboard. Right now, it's very simple. There isn't much to it, right? So I think now it's more than enough, right? I don't know what happened there. I think we messed something up. Ah, yeah, we did. Oops. Let's try that again. Yeah. Okay, good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, I think. So I'm actually happy with, yeah, it's okay progress today. We had a bit more chat than yesterday maybe, so could have been slightly better, but overall I think we got some people signing up. We had a lot of followers today as well. So that's pretty good. With that said, thank you everybody for being here. I'm gonna release a new video on YouTube probably after this. I'm talking about hiring and recruiting and how some of my tips of what you should be doing in an interview. So I'm gonna render this video after the stream and I'm gonna upload it, so you're probably gonna watch it later on if you want. With that said, actually let me do this. So with that being said, yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for your suggestions, for signing up, for follows and all of that stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed or learned something new today. That's what this stream is for. You guys, I tried to... A quick solo to end the stream. I promise you, Hyson, that I will play this week. I'm gonna just grab some of the guitars and just... So we're gonna do it probably over the weekend. On Saturday I might, because my son is sleeping now and stuff, and generally on Saturday we let him kind of be awake a bit longer. So I would not want to wake him up with some metal riffs now. He's sleeping right next to in this room, right? But what is to say, we're gonna continue basically tomorrow, same time. Yeah, we wanna build basically, I wanna build this courses feature and then write some courses. So the idea basically here is that I build something that I can put the courses that I do on first. So I want to provide value to people so they can sign up on the platform. So this is in a way me giving to the community and then expecting at the very least. So because keep in mind, we're building a social knowledge sharing platform here, and there's really no other way, no matter who you are, to build this without people. Like, you guys are the biggest asset of this platform in a way, right? So it's kind of, I need to find ways to provide value to you, and I think one of the value is going to be just building free courses, and so people can sign up at least for that reason, and then I can answer their questions, blah 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 blah. So after we finish the courses, we're going to be doing the projects features. So we're going to be building like a little place where other developers can post their projects, try to find people to work on them, share ideas and stuff. So for the next couple of months, for sure, we're going to be building features just for the developers, right? And then eventually we're going to involve companies and organizations and stuff. But for now, we need to think, how do we provide value for us, for ourselves? I mean, I'm literally thinking, how can I provide my value for myself on this platform? And then once we kind of, if we are out of ideas what else to build, then we're going to kind of start introducing organizations, companies and stuff like that, right? So either way, thank you everybody for being here, and I hope you enjoyed the time with me. I certainly had a lot of fun, and I'm happy with the progress. Sleep well, everybody. Have a great day or night, depending where you are, and I'll catch you guys up tomorrow, same time. This concludes it, and you too, Hyson, and everybody. Thank you very much, Pepper, etc., and all of you. Have a great one. Peace out, guys.